take a look at these photos and tell me what you see wrong with them. Do you see anything wrong with my hair in them specifically? Probably not, considering the fact that I took these photos, edited these photos, and posted them specifically because you couldn't tell anything was wrong with my hair at the time. But in reality, I was hiding my hair loss and my trichotillomania in every single one of these photos, and I'm gonna go through my old Instagram and roast myself for it. I put a lot of effort into hiding the fact that my mental illness took up the majority of my mental space back then. I think a lot of us are guilty of this, of portraying our best self that's not necessarily our true self. There's some really quick context before we start. I started pulling out my hair in elementary school, and my hair pulling probably peaked around 2008, 2009. Back then my hair was so thin and fragile that I couldn't grow it past my ears, but I didn't know what trichotillomania was at the time, until I found out about it in 2012 when I stumbled upon it on Tumblr. And since then I've kind of been on this like self-acceptance journey where I'm learning more about trich and mental health and like psychology and neurology, and all these things kind of have culminated to the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and in 2019 I kind of came out, if you will, about my hair loss, and I talk openly about it on the internet now. With that in mind, let's rewind a little bit. We're going back to January 2014. I wanted to share this photo because on my old Instagram, it's me and my rabbit reel. This is definitely not the first photo that I posted on Instagram. This photo is kind of important because this was posted January 31st, 2014, which is the day that me and my current boyfriend actually started dating, which is interesting. But in this photo, I'm wearing a beanie like in my house, which is something I used to do a lot because that was kind of the easiest way to conceal any signs of hair loss at the time. And so I would always just kind of play the, oh, it's cold, I'm wearing a beanie card. Even though the truth was I was wearing a beanie because I didn't want to look at my hair, and I didn't feel like looking at my hair was doing anything good for me, so I would rather just hide it than look at it. I think a big reason behind my aversion to journaling was actually like my hair. I didn't feel ready to even talk about it with myself, of all people. Like, the person that it was happening to and the person that I was like living with wasn't ready and wasn't equipped to talk about hair loss, hair pulling, and this like strange new condition that like I uncovered on the depths of the internet. In October the year before, I wrote, "As always, you sleep too late and you need to leave your hair alone." Sums it up pretty well, I think. And this next one, I posted it October 7th, 2014. I was at the very beginning of university. So it's October of like first semester, first year. Took this like in the library, I think. And it's a cute photo actually. But look at my hair. My hair looks amazing, right? I look back on my hair in like these few years and all I could think is like, wow, like that hair was it. That hair was amazing. And at the time, that is not what I thought at all. I was really thinking like, oh my god, my hair is like so thin. I can't believe I still pull my hair. All I could think about was how much I pulled my hair. And like when I look back on these times, all I could think about is like how stressed I was about starting university and starting post-secondary. And the other thing I can only think about was how stressed I was that I was still pulling after all these years. All I remember is thinking about how I was still pulling after all this time when it was 2014, and let's say I started pulling in like 2007 or something. That's a really long time. That's like 7 years, yeah. So I've been pulling for 7 years, and at the time all I could think about was like, oh my god, like I should stop by now. I should be over this. I should be like cured. I should be healed of this by now, and I wasn't. I was the furthest thing from it. Definitely being in a new environment shocked me a lot, and I didn't really know how else to cope because trich kind of became my coping mechanism for stress. It was like a stress response at the time. And now I understand it a little better in a sense that I don't only pull when I'm stressed, I also pull when I'm bored out of my mind. It's kind of like an idling brain situation. But at the time, Trick was my stress response, and when you're thrown into like thousands of dollars of a class, stress response, yeah, it's definitely real and definitely happens. Okay, this photo is from October 6, 2015, so if we fast forward like exactly a year, this is what my hair looked like, and this is one of the best photos of my hair that ever have existed. I'm not gonna lie, I was so obsessed with these photos because up until this point, every time I had a photo of myself taken, it would be very scary for me to have that happen. I would always be worried if like a thin patch was showing, if a bald spot was showing, if like random regrowth like this. I'm just checking the viewfinder right now, but I would rather implode, I think, than have like my regrowth baby hairs popping up in a photo, let alone a video I'm gonna spend like hours editing and looking at. My hair was doing so good, but why was I so upset? And like, why was I so angry back then? That's like the real question. I was so angry with like myself, and I felt like I had no sense of self-control. I felt like I was doing everything wrong. Yet when I look back on, like, look at my hair now. Obviously, I love my short hair because it's hot as hell, and I don't have my fan on because I'm filming this video. But back then, I should have been so much more grateful for the hair that I did have, as opposed to constantly thinking about the hair that I didn't have. This was 5 years ago, guys. So 5 years ago, my hair was probably the longest it had ever been, like, in my physical life. I don't know about my, like, emotional life, but my physical life, that was definitely the longest my hair had been, and I have nothing to say for it. I have no memories of, like, appreciating my hair. I have no memories of, you know, feeling proud of like the progress I'd made, or I don't remember ever feeling grateful for the fact that my hair could actually grow back, when in reality for a lot of people with Trick, that doesn't actually happen. 2016 Joyce in February, so this isn't that long since the last photo, but something between October and then February did a number on my hair. My hair, okay, in my eyes, my hair looks shorter, and I'm pretty sure that most people who are watching this along with me are gonna think I am wrong. Like, my hair looks fine. It's long, it's black, it looks like I've got some like edgy layers, and even my caption, it's another day of pretending I'm a moody black-haired anime boy. But in reality, my hair was definitely thinning and breaking due to the damage from pulling. 2016 is a pretty pivotal year in my hair loss journey, and I think after I talk about the next photo, you're gonna see why. I'm just kind of in shock that after all this time and looking back on these photos, I had no appreciation for what my physical body could do, and I should have had more appreciation for what it could do. I was just so hyper focused on my hair back then. I honestly don't think I could think about anything else. Most of my, like, these years are kind of outlined with the fact that all I thought about was my hair. And I could have spent that time, I could have spent that mental energy thinking about other things, and I didn't. And I try not to, like, regret. I want to be like that guy who got, like, no regrets on his chest tattooed. But it's a little bit hard to not feel regret when that's something I want to say that I should have known, but I don't think I could have known. You know, sometimes there's just like a time for you to know certain things in life, or there's a time for you to do certain things in life, and I don't think that time was the time for me to understand my hair. I think I would have to go through some more stuff, as we're gonna see in the next photo. Can we also talk about how good my makeup looked back then? I do not do my makeup as well as I did back then. Like, this eyebrow, incredible. The eyeliner, flawless. The brown smoky eye, unclockable. April 2016, this is a photo I posted because probably every selfie that I took was a selfie with my hair up in some way. Even then, I barely took any selfies because since February, okay, think about February photo, Since February, when my hair started thinning and breaking off a lot more, I would stop taking selfies of myself because I didn't want to see how thin my hair was getting. I also knew the reality that for your hair to feel that thin, you had to pull out a lot of hair, like a lot of hair. In April 2016 was the last time I had my own hair for a while. Because in May 2016, a month after that photo, is when I got semi-permanent hair extensions, and I think that kind of fucked up my hair ever since then. My hair, I don't know if it's been the same until I cut it, but for the most part, I don't think my hair has been the same. But just looking at this photo, like, this girl, she's overworked, not sleeping right, not treating her body well, eating like crap, not eating like half the time, because she always would tell herself, oh, I'll just eat when I go home, when I have 8 hours of classes in a day, and when I have to be at school for 12, and then she would like go work part-time, just like, and I didn't know how to set boundaries with myself. I didn't know how to set boundaries with other people, and I especially didn't know how to set boundaries with myself in terms of like taking care of myself, respecting my body, and like honoring the things that it could and couldn't do. That wasn't something in my range of motion back then, apparently. There is a reason my hair is up. This is a calculated move that I always did. I would put my hair in like a low bun, I would put it in like the tiny space buns, I would French braid it, even though my braids were really thin, but then like pin it to my head so that people couldn't tell how thin it was. And I thought everyone was so obsessed with like how my hair looked. In reality, nobody did. Really, yeah, nobody really gave a hoot, and everyone thought everything was fine. And I should have thought everything was fine, because in the grand scheme of things, everything was, but back then, my mind was so consumed by thinking about my hair that wasn't really an option for me. So from this point, as I mentioned, is the semi-permanent hair extensions era of my life. And that in itself deserves a whole other video, so if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That's telling YouTube that this is some good stuff and that you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in learning more about hair and mental illness and trichotillomania. I'm just here to chill and talk about it with you all, because this isn't something that I had when I was growing up and going through like this phase of my life. I did not have anybody talking about trich and their hair loss, especially like at a young age back then. So if this is a video that's helpful for you, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and leave a comment if you guys thought it was good, and if you want to hear any more like stories and stuff about how I was navigating hair loss in university and in high school and like post-grad and like presently as I'm doing now. That is a constant quest that I'm on. The quest hasn't ended. I'm definitely not like cured by any means. If anything, I'm probably more messed up than I was before. I'm just happily embracing it now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have the best day that you could have, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!